back paddle, back paddle. Back paddle. Beaver. The Humber was designated a Canadian Heritage River in 1999 as a result of its outstanding cultural and recreational values. We have accessed the river from Dick's Dam Park in Bolton and almost immediately have to portage past the remnants of the McFall Dam. There is a weir that directs normal flows through a residential neighborhood and the historical town site, which has all been built on the floodplain. Higher levels are diverted from the natural oxbow by overflowing the weir and bypassing to directly downstream. Today, flooding is prevented by this channel, which increases the capacity of the riverbed at this specific point, and allows water to largely bypass Bolton without impediment. I was born in what was known as the Humber Memorial Hospital at the time. I attended the Humberview School, where I knew several members of both the McFall and Goodfellow families who operated the Bolton flour mill between 1881 and 1952. Later in life, I earned a qualification from Humber College. When I was a teenager, I did hear about one occasion in which some brothers had navigated the river using inner tubes. Otherwise, my experience has been that the Humber River itself is largely taken for granted. By the evening of the 15th and 16th of October 1954, the city of Toronto had received more than 6 weeks of rain in the previous 16 days. When Hurricane Hazel arrived, the water table was already saturated, and it is estimated that 90% of the runoff flowed directly into main watercourses. 8 more inches of rain fell within a 12-hour period. In Weston, an intense flash flood inundated Raymore Drive, and 14 homes were simply washed down the river. This small-volume river that hardly anyone pays any attention to anymore killed 35 people on one street. Shortly after the town, the river returns to its natural character.
Wow, lots of sketchy sweepers.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Maybe on the left?
Yeah. We're gonna have to duck. Just be very careful. We're gonna have to thread the needle here. We're gonna have to go right too.
Yeah. That's okay, too far. Not too bad.
Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna go under.
All right.
The Humber Valley Conservation Authority held its first meeting in 1948.
This area eventually came under the control of what was then known as the Metropolitan Toronto and Region Conservation Authority. There was a campaign to expropriate floodplains starting in 1957, and one of the results was the Nashville Conservation Reserve. It was originally intended for the construction of a large dammed reservoir. At more than 900 hectares, this is unusually large, considering its proximity to the Greater Toronto Area. There are abandoned homesteads, old foundations, the remains of roads and bridges, and some wrecked cars, but not much else.
Okay, I'm going to deliberately hug the right shore. Again. Yeah.
The river is free to travel its course undisturbed. After university, I returned to living in Bolton and started driving around the valley looking for access to the river. The road network was cut off at the valley wall, and all of the homes and farms are abandoned. So that once you get in here, it would be difficult to get out. Nonetheless, it has been an ambition of mine for many years to paddle the entire length of the Humber River. The river itself is a navigable waterway. In Canada, this more or less gives it the same status as Crown land, meaning that we have every right to be on the water, but landing on the banks is trespassing. Some other rivers around southern Ontario have developed into established canoeing and kayaking destinations, while the Humber has not.
Oh, geez.
Oh, back paddle, back paddle. Back paddle. Sorry, back paddle hard.
Okay. 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 Pull us back.
So you can back paddle as hard as you can, okay? So you back paddle
Right now?
as hard as you can.
Okay.
Keep going, paddle hard, hard, hard. Hard, paddle, hard, hard, hard. Okay.
Oh, I do.
Draw.
Draw?
Yeah, draw. Around.
Yikes.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, we made it.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing you can do is just to slow down. Just like drag the paddle or back paddle as opposed to paddling forward. Just slow it down. Right.
Along our route, approximately 80% of the banks are owned either by the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority or as municipal parks by the City of Toronto. One legacy of the expropriation campaign was the establishment of some firmly entrenched land use conflicts. Currently, the Humber River between Bolton and Lake Ontario has not been established as a canoeing route, and subsequently, TRCA cannot support individuals to use this entire area for canoeing, and does not permit camping outside of established campgrounds. In addition, TRCA is not in a position to grant permission for any camping or portaging on the privately owned sections of the proposed route, as this would need to be obtained by individual landowners. Without the necessary permission, any activity being undertaken on private property would constitute trespassing.
Okay, pedal ahead. And then we'll slow down right at the end. Okay, now put on the brake. Brake. Now it's perfect.
Unfortunately, at this time, TRCA cannot permit and does not sanction such an event, and should you choose to proceed, you are doing so at your own risk. In addition to issues surrounding permission, there are also significant safety concerns in using an unestablished canoe route and flooding in the spring. Many in-water barriers are not marked with signage.
Looks like a fine spot to camp.
Alright. Can you do cross and or just cut seven? I think we're going to have to do a back ferry here. So, again, I'm going to point the to bow towards the right shoreline, and we're going to back paddle. Okay, so yeah, go ahead. Okay, that's probably good enough already.
For more than 50 years, the Moira River Canoe Club has organized a downriver race starting from the intersection of Finch Avenue West and Islington Avenue. The finish is at D Avenue just south of the 401 in Weston. This is a good section for a race, since there are no obstacles. The river is deeper and slow-moving, so it is not as dependent on water levels. An organized paddling route could be designated here and used during a much longer season.
Once we get to the other side of the bridge, if you look up to the left, you should be able to see the sign for Algonquin Park.
The first weir is just downstream of St. Philip's Road. There are 8 before the old mill.
Some of those waves down there on the right look pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, some big ones coming up too.
Yeah, so we're going to start on the left anyway.
Though we portaged all of them, this was the most dangerous part of the trip.
Wow. Those are big waves.
Okay, there actually is a really big block of concrete in the river,
Yep.
and it's somewhat on the right. I guess
That's it. That's the abutment. And the other one is on shore over there.
Right.
So yeah, it's that concrete that you can see straight ahead.
Right, I see a little liner thing on the right. Yeah, you can see the mist coming off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely see where that waterfall is. Where that is. Lots of spray. Yep.
Okay.
Shoot for that.
Yes.
Okay. And just hard paddling.
Okay, slow down.
Okay.
Okay. Keep paddling.
All right.
Okay, keep paddling. Stay out now.
Okay.
Honestly, I didn't expect it to be this exciting.
Yeah, I know. Well, I can tell you it wasn't like this in July.
No.
Completely different experience. This is Scarlet Road.
So on this one, we can paddle across to the left a little bit, but then most of it just goes, proceed slowly.
Kind of through the middle of the right side.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, back paddle, back paddle. Okay, sorry, do a cross draw. There you go.
Woo.
So we actually took a wave on that one.
And so the weir is just beyond this bridge. Well, not just beyond it, a ways past it, so left side.
Okay, try to make a draw. Yeah,
This way?
paddle ahead. Yeah, it looks like a pretty small eddy actually. So.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, now paddle. Let's start paddling forward. What are you saying?
In and around Toronto, as many as 50 bridges were washed out and 81 people died in southern Ontario. Hurricane Hazel's destruction was especially extensive in the Humber Valley, and it became the focus of preventative projects. Today, the flood control measures that were added to the river obviously worked, though the reservoir was never built. Let there be no doubt the river flows quickly. We traveled at least 70 kilometers in only 14 hours. Yet, in order to paddle canoes down, we have to do it during the peak spring runoff, the first weekend in April. The storm on the 8th of July 2013 exceeded the previous rainfall record set by Hurricane Hazel and caused no meaningful damage. For this, we must give credit to the relentless work of the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority, who have acted as stewards of the Humber.